Hello again, beautiful people. Oh, I also got my Rathlos mount. I was gonna get it on camera with the 50 totems and such, but I got it at like, what was it, 43? Just to confirm that, yeah. I got it at 43 kills instead, so that sucks. I was going to show it off, but I got it 7 kills early, so. It's my cute little dragon, though. It is mine, you cannot have it. You'll have to get your own if you want one. But yeah, on to the topic of the video. So, a lot of guys, envy Chad, want to be like Chad, right? That's the modern day aesthetic is, everyone wishes they were Chad Thunder, etc. And I'm here to tell you that I think that being Chad is not all it's cracked up to be, like a lot of people seem to assume it is. I'm going to postulate here that men sleeping around is just as damaging to men, if not more damaging than it is to women. It's just men are better suited to cope with it because men in general are just better at coping with bad things. Like, men just have tougher lives, so they naturally are a lot tougher. Now, you might be saying to me, Sneed, that seems to be a little ironic. Why would sleeping around be bad for men? Like, men don't pair bond like women do. They're completely different. To a certain extent, yes. Men do not pair bond in the same way women do, but it's still unhelpful. It still is self-harm, in my opinion, to be sleeping around with a bunch of people. But Sneed, your biological imperative says that, you must lay your seed with as many willing holes as humanly possible. Perhaps your biological imperatives will tell you to harm things, though. If you just follow your biological imperatives, you may eat until you're, too overfull, you may get fat. If you follow your biological imperatives, you might grape, So I don't think that's exactly a solid argument against the fact that sleeping around is fairly harmful for you as a human being. And why do I say that? Why do I say that sleeping around for you as a human being in general, not just women, is bad for you? Well, for one, there's the obvious choice bias that comes with having that many partners. When you eventually do try to settle down, you're always going to compare Becky's, mouth to Tammy's tits, or, Jessica's butt compared to, Veronica's thigh job or armpits or whatever. I don't know what regular people will do. Like, that's beyond me. Like, relationships and all that are just not my purview. Shocking, I know, but, So, why do I say it's objectively bad for you as a man, though, to go about, spreading your seed like this? Because, it seems like many people believe that's the ideal, and I, for the life of me, don't really understand why. Like, it's objectively harmful to you to sleep around like that just because you will never be able to fully pair bond with the woman you're with. If Christine's breasts are the only breast you've ever known, you're going to be more attached to her breast than if, she's breast number 1 out of 100, right? And the same is true for women, and the same is true for anyone. If, Christine is the only person you've ever been intimate with, you've explored everything with this person, like, there's something innately beautiful about that. And this isn't even a religious thing. You don't need to be religious. I'm not. I'm going to make a video actually about the Christ cucks coming soon, but... And, there's something innately beautiful about sharing all of these experiences with only one person in your life. Now, in modernity, the idea of that might be, sneered at, might be scoffed. Like, what does it matter, right, if you sleep around? So what if you compare the bodies and the, talents of potential wives all amongst each other? Like, and I would argue that's a bad thing. I think it's obviously a bad thing if you think about it for more than 0.5 seconds. And there's other things, too, that are doing harm. So you've got the paradox of choice, or the choice problems. You've got, the potential STIs and other, venereal diseases that undoubtedly occur with this kind of behavior. Because, let's face it, all of the Chads are sharing, all of the lovely genetic information with each other, and that's just very cringe in general. If you participate in this culture, you and the other 10% of men that are sitting at the top all get to, basically every single time a woman sleeps with a man, she inhales some of his DNA into her just naturally, which is disgusting, but it's true. So now when you're sticking your thing inside of that DNA pit, it's now mixing and congruing with all the other men's DNA, which to me just is nasty. Maybe you don't see it that way, but that just seems unclean. And I have to say, in modern day, being disgusted seems to be, something you're not allowed to be anymore. I am fully disgusted by a lot of this behavior. I'm not afraid to say it. I think it's disgusting. I think it's foul. Sexual, always so hot, or whatever. You're not allowed to find, anything sexual disgusting, And even something as barebone as, missionary while holding hands for the sole purpose of procreation. If it's inside of this, DNA pit that's been overrun by God knows how many chads, that's, absolutely foul just innately in its nature to me. I don't know. Am I alone in finding that disgusting? I don't think so. I think most men that participate in this culture are willing to, at least go about this, have to accept that at some point it's just kind of, ew. And I get it. They don't have any options, which is why they do it, right? They're saying, well, this is the best I'm going to get, so I might as well deal with it and just get the job done, right? That's the way they see it. And I would say that if those are your options, you might be better off just being alone. I know this is a hard pill for a lot of guys to swallow, but you don't have to pursue relationships or go into all of this. You don't have to go and sacrifice your sanity, your money, your body, your autonomy, and all of that, all for the pursuit of used up wenches. I don't know how else to describe it. 3D PD objectively are just not worth it these days, but it is what it is. The modern women, modernity is this whole idea that springs from angles about the village and the culture and primal humanity society that we're reverting to. We're going back in time to pre-civilization era, where the women just slept with whoever they wanted, and if a child was born, the village took care of it, right? That's not going to work in modernity, because the average man now knows that he's not passing on his genetic lineage for contributing to this, so the modern man is just not going to contribute. And I would say that don't contribute to society. Society doesn't deserve your contribution anymore. And it doesn't because it promotes things like this. Without even going into what a scam marriage is, we're talking at the relationship level here, right? And another pro tip for a lot of guys there, if a woman doesn't break the touch barrier with you early on, then you probably are wasting your time and money. So just be aware of that. There are a lot of women that, are going to try and use men on dating apps for free meals or whatever, They're only going out just to have a meal with said person and get free stuff. So you can avoid falling into that trap basically by trying to break the touch barrier with her immediately. And if she seems hesitant to the touch barrier, you give her a big hug or whatever and she recoils like you're a filthy worm, which you probably are if you're watching this. Sorry. Some of you are alright, but some of you are probably like me, a filthy worm. Then to invest minimal into the enterprise or just end it right there. You don't have to go on the date. You can just walk away at that point if she's not into you. And you can tell if she's into you just by breaking the touch barrier. Yeah, it's kind of creepy, kind of R-wordy, right? But, it's a bona fide test that is pretty much flawless and foolproof. If you break the touch barrier and she doesn't seem into that, then she's not really interested in you, at least in that way. She might be interested in you to steal money from you, but she's not attracted to you. So, you can immediately figure that out and then proceed from there, with that knowledge that she's not interested in you in that manner. She doesn't see you as an attractive mate. And you might say, well, that's kind of cringe. The whole situation is pretty cold. Absolutely true, but, we live in modernity. We have to operate in the rules of modernity. And I don't recommend even bothering with, trying to date and all of that. It's just a waste of money at the end of the day. Your money is much better spent retiring early and then trying to find meaning in your life. And in current modernity, you're the only one that's going to find meaning in your life. And let me tell you what, if, using up a DNA hole that's had untold amounts of Chad in it is your idea of meaning, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. Best of luck to you. Hopefully you have a nice life, but I just don't think that's something you should be doing or you want to be doing, in essence. And maybe some of you do. Maybe your biological imperative is so strong that that's all you care about is going about that. And you're welcome to that. I would disagree, and I hope at least you avoid corrupting yourself, avoid ruining yourself through choice paradox, avoid sharing DNA with all the other chads, avoid feeling washed up and used and degenerate. And at the end of the day, it's about how you feel and how to improve your life, not so much about the woman's life, because let's face it, the entire rest of society is looking out for her. You're the only one that's looking out for you. Take care of yourself more so than you would take care of the slores. That's all I have to say on the topic. You have a lovely day.